All right, guys. Hi, I'm sorry about the delay, but with YouTube Live, you can set, I guess, parameters on moderation. So that's what just came up as a little bit of an information thing about moderating. So it's, gosh, just after 5 a.m. This is Glenn here saying hi to everybody. Um, Pretty early. Sorry about that. It's pretty early. It's 5 a.m. East Coast of the United States. So my last live blog was last weekend. It was on Saturday morning too. Same thing happened. Woke up so early. I think it was like 2 a.m. and just couldn't get back to sleep. So at some point, I've read over the years, if you can't sleep, to just get up and read or do something productive. But at some point, you have to get up and do something. I can't lay in bed for more than an hour or so. Then I get in my head, things start twirling around. So yeah, my name's Glenn, and once again, East Coast, United States. Last week we had a visitor from Nebraska. Had somebody from Louisiana that was talking about fishing. Somebody from Atlanta. Several visitors, several hundred, or a couple hundred last week. And then we had somebody from New Zealand, which was pretty dang exciting. That was cool. I think that person's name was Neo. So anyways, we'll see what we come up with now with our live podcast. Excuse me. So it's always a challenge going live because, well, it's live. And sometimes you want to say something, you get on a train of thought, and it's like, then it's gone. Who do we got? We got Pansu Wee. Hello, Pansu Wee. Good to see you guys. Mafiso. Hi, good morning. You know, some of you guys, I realize, are on the whole other side of the world from where I am. I'm in Florida, which is in the United States. So it's 5 a.m. here. And I realized wherever you are, it could be, 1 in the afternoon, 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But as I was just saying a minute ago, I woke up too early. Once you get over 30 or 40 years old, sleep can be challenging. So I woke up way too early, laid there in bed thinking about too much stuff. And sometimes it's just hard to relax. What this week was challenging for me, and I assume some of these people on this chat are teenagers. Maybe you work, maybe you don't, but I know you have your share of challenges. Some of you guys are adults. My target audience is men over 40, over 50 who have gone through the horrible experience of separation and divorce after a marriage. That's my target YouTube audience. And eventually, I've done a few videos. What I used to do is what was called short form videos. Now, these are in YouTube creation world. Okay, you guys can hear me okay? Can you hear me? All right, let me know if you can or can't, please. In the YouTube creation world, you've got what's called long form video, and they call it long form because it's horizontal, right? And it goes basically, it would look best on a TV or if your phone were sideways. Long form videos are typically long. You've watched videos that are like 10 minutes long, 20 minutes long, and longer. So that's what long form is. So probably right after my separation from my ex-wife, I decided to just start shooting short form videos. And the type of videos I was shooting was just like, a lot of videos on the beach, interesting things. Like if I saw just the stuff that I thought was interesting, nothing profound. But I'm getting more serious about my YouTube experience. And several reasons for that is when I was single, I found that it was very, it was a good creative outlet. Now, reason creativity is important is it does relieve stress. Creativity can reduce your anxiety by getting your mind off of things, because you're concentrating on whatever, like craft that you're making, or concentrating on whatever, whatever you're creating. Maybe I guess it can be creativity to wash your car. Maybe you're washing your car, or maybe you're painting a room. These are creative outlets. And it kind of helps you access different parts of your brain where you can relax and check out mentally, and not have to maybe necessarily have the same thought patterns. So that's what I was doing with my YouTube creation. And it's just a good outlet. But to land the plane on that part is, it's interesting because I had done over 200 short form videos, which is, short form is the vertical video. It's when you hold your phone up and down like this. And a good example of that is like TikTok or something like that. So short form video, less than a minute with YouTube. And it's more of almost like a little pop of information or something cute. You guys have been on TikTok, so you can relate. It's like that. But the thing with short form is I was all over the grid with my content. Now there's something called algorithms with YouTube, and YouTube literally takes who the audience is that's watching, and it starts keeping track of watch time. It starts keeping track of how old the person watching is, the consumer, the person participating in the video that's watching the video is the consumer that YouTube tracks, the age, the demographic, male, female, where they're from even. But especially it's got really sophisticated algorithms that tracks the interests of these people. So say, for instance, I start sending out a bunch of videos on burrowing owls, which where I live in Florida, we have burrowing owls. These are owls that live underground and eat bugs and lizards. I put a lot of videos out about burrowing owls. And what kind of target audience is that going to seek out? Well, of course, it's going to be people that are bird lovers, maybe people that love cute little fuzzy things. Well, that's not where the demographic is that I want to aim toward. What I'm aiming toward is basically men who have been through the experience of divorce, that are having a hard time, that are having challenges. So that's what I'm pivoting my YouTube creation journey on, is toward these men, toward helping these guys and forming a community over time. I did go ahead and I didn't delete. I took the profile of about 180 of my short form videos, which were all over the grid, content, all kinds of content. I basically took these, excuse me guys, trying to get rid of this little narrative at the bottom of my screen, sorry. So I took almost 200 of those videos and put them on private, which it didn't delete the videos. It just puts them in a, little file to the side. With that being said, my viewership has dropped dramatically. With that being said, I'm trying to retrain the algorithm, trying to re-engage the algorithm with a specific set of viewers. That takes time. It takes time for YouTube to start to figure out who really likes your videos, the age range, and also there's AI involved with the algorithm that tracks what you say, the content, and it does these basically tracks everything, the content of what your videos are, and it sends it out to the right the right audience, but it's over time. So that's what's going on with my YouTube creation journey. Another thing that kind of sucked this week is I've been having some work challenges, and with work challenges, as you know, that can really weigh on your mind, and it can be something that drags on you. Men typically, it's a stereotype here, but men typically do have their identity kind of wrenched in directly with what they do for a living, with their occupation. That's not necessarily a great thing, but we men do kind of resonate in that direction. With that being said, I've had a lot of work changes. Most of it has been intentional lateral movement in my agency, which is a challenge. You're learning a new function, you're learning new work, or you got new coworkers. So that's a pretty big challenge in my life. That's just something that we all go through. I realize some people stay in their career and stay in one business, one company for years and years, and I get that. A lot of times, if I see an opportunity, I've been in a place for 2 or 3 years, maybe it's time to leave. Maybe it's time to look for greater opportunity. So that's what I did, is a lateral move in my agency, my company that I work at, but also kind of working more part-time because of my commute. I'm going to pick up work here where I live. So I'm done blathering about work. I'm just kind of, expressing what my week was like. The other thing challenging this week is I'm a dog lover, always have been a dog lover. So unfortunately, had to put my dog down yesterday with my ex-wife. So I drove down to the town I lived in, and it seemed like my dog was 16 years old. I got to find out how many years that relates to in human life. Let's look that up before we go any further, okay? If a 16-year-old dog, what is that in human years? How old is a dog in human years if they're 16? All right, okay, this is craziness. A 16-year-old dog is roughly equivalent to a human who is 80 to 120 years old, depending on the dog's size and breed. So a 16-year-old small dog would be at the lower end, and a 16-year-old larger breed dog would be at the higher end. So my dog, she apparently had a stroke 2 nights ago, and she was just kind of laying there, really sad. Wasn't really whining, but we knew there was a problem because her breathing was really labored, and she was having trouble breathing, and having trouble just kind of, she couldn't hold her head up. She was panting a lot, but wasn't eating, wasn't drinking. So 16-year-old Labby, that's lab and a beagle mix. She's a yellow lab with short legs. So that's crazy. This here says, since she's a larger breed dog, that she could be upwards toward 120 years old in human years. That blows my mind. So I didn't know it was quite that old. So it was, of course, very difficult to put your dog down. That dog grew up basically with my 2 sons, and that dog was just, I know there's people here that love cats, but that dog was just such a sweet, sweet soul. And another thing that was sad yesterday is, like, dogs, they give and they give and they give. They have such good spirits. They give love, they give attention, and they do it basically without any, wanting anything back. They do want your attention, but they're just so free to give. And dogs are so free to forgive. They're always your best friend. That's why they say they're man's best friend. So it was tough to kind of let go of her soul, to let go of her spirit. But I remembered the good times. So we took her to the vet, my ex-wife and I, and we did put the we told the vet what was going on, and probably we could have put her on antibiotics and had her observed for several days in the doggy ICU. But at her age, she had already started having trouble. So I think the thing is it was kind of wise for us to put her down and just put her out of her pain and remember her for the good years. She really was having trouble even standing up. But when she stopped eating and stopped drinking, we knew it wasn't a good sign. So I think some of you who have lost pets can relate to just the how hard that is to lose a pet, because they're companions for so many years. And I think the other thing about that I wanted to resonate with, especially how that came up, is I'm in a relationship. I have a girlfriend, and we cohabitate together. We live together. And even with that being the case, I think it was really important that I've maintained a good civil relationship with my ex-wife. That's a challenge. I realize so many men that you just can't keep a civil relationship with the ex-wife. I realize you just can't, that you bicker, or sometimes they have a sharp tongue, or sometimes your anger gets the best of you, and there's so many emotional landmines in the relationship with the ex. With the dog getting really sick, it was fortunate that's one instance where it was fortunate to have been able to receive a text from my ex-wife, and she told me about the dog situation, and I was able to, I wasn't working yesterday, so I was able to go down there and be with my ex-wife, who is a friend, and to help and kind of be with my dog and say goodbye properly to my dog. And if you haven't had that reciprocal civil relationship with your ex-wife, I'm truly sorry, because I know it's tough. Also, if you haven't had that reciprocal relationship, I would hope there would be a chance that you could develop it, because at times like that, when there's sickness, when your kids get sick or have problems, or there's challenges, or a pet gets sick, these are things that fortunately we get along, and it wasn't a stressful and awkward moment to do that. Okay, who do we have visiting here? Hi, Jintara Sai. Jintara Sai, I'm sorry I didn't pronounce that correctly. Welcome, everyone watching. My name's Glenn. As I'd mentioned at the start of this live stream video, I'm from Florida, and it's about 5:30 a.m. here. And I'm a new-ish YouTube creator, and that means that I was explaining I've created vertical videos for a couple of years, had a couple hundred on this channel, that most of them I took private. The reason I took them private is I'm trying to retrain over time, steer the YouTube algorithm in a different direction toward the type of person that I'm trying to help, which is men over 40, over 50, who've gone through the terrible situation of separation, gone through the terrible situation of divorce, and these men are having a hard time bouncing back, getting their own identity, getting their kind of getting their giddy up back. They're having a hard time with the reset after the divorce. When I was in a group of divorced people a couple of times at a church, it was very profound and affected me. The men, there was some men in the group that were just having a terrible time with their identity, with their bounce back, with their day to day, and they were just in a lot of agony. So that's my target audience over time. I'm trying to steer this YouTube algorithm, steer in a different direction toward these men who need help, need an ear, need coaching, need understanding. So that's the case. Somebody just popped in here. I say, Bumballer Bug 29. Hello, good to see you guys. This one I can't pronounce. Diftahibben. I see some Arabic there. I think I can't pronounce Arabic. Truly sorry. Who else do we have here? Hi, they're from Sweden. Ricard Olson. Pleasure to have you with us. Greetings. And I'm sure in Sweden right now it's mid-morning, so glad you're with us. My name's Glenn. So besides talking about my YouTube journey and then diving into the unfortunate circumstance of putting my dog to sleep yesterday, and I have some work stuff going on. Work changes, most of it intentional, most of it stepping into a better place, lateral transfers at work, but still very stressful, because with work you have the people that you connect with, you have the people that you see day to day, and you can kind of click into a routine. When you can click into a routine, there's less stress after you've been to a workplace for a while. So I'm at a new workplace, learning new skills, and also looking to supplement my income, because I'm just not going to commute every day of the week to my old job. I'm doing that for a little bit. I'm doing that for less amount of time a week commuting, and that's going to be suitable, but have to augment my income here where I'm at in my town. So that is a job search, and job searches are always fun when you're over 50. It'll be fine. It'll be just fine. So cheers to those of us who are rearranging our lives intentionally. A little bit of coffee here because it's 5:30 in the morning. 5:46. The other thing that I thought I would talk about this morning, here from Florida, is the thing of, I heard a statement a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago, that it went something like this, that a man without a mission will often go to war with himself or with his family. So let me repeat that. A man without a mission will often go to war with himself or go to war with his family. So reason I bring that up is it's resonated with me lately. Sometimes we guys can deal with frustration tolerance, anger management issues, and I am not immune to these challenges. So what I had shared last week on my live stream video here is that since I'm in a new city, living with my girlfriend, I need to develop my own identity. Part of doing that is there's something in the US called Spartan Race. I'm in moderate shape. I've been in moderate to good shape all of my adult life, overweight though. But I decided to go ahead and take on the challenge of training for a Spartan Race. This is a 10K. So a 10K, 10 kilometers is about 6.4 miles. And then there's obstacles during the race. So 4 months from now, I'm going to be participating in a Spartan Race. I'm very excited about this. And that's an example of the statement that I brought up. Excuse me, is that a man without a mission will often become self-destructive, can be aimless, can be restless, can get into mischief. So the point in saying is I wanted to have something to train for. Big reset in my life in the last year or so. And this is part of it, is the physical aspect of the reset. So that's why I decided to do a Spartan race, is to challenge myself to train more and more intensely over the next 4 months, so I don't get out there and die, and so I don't get out there and make a fool of myself, and so I don't waste our girlfriend's time because she's going to be a spectator. And I want to finish that Spartan race. A man without a mission will often go to war with himself or with his family. There went my light. This is the Amazon light. It's a solar powered one, and it lasted about 30 minutes. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to get a plug-in light. Sorry about the dimness, but it's kind of good mood lighting, right? You like the mood lighting? Yeah, I do too. So where was I? Oh, I was talking about man without a mission. That's going to be my next video that I put on my YouTube channel. It's going to be basically what I'm going to talk about is you have to have a mission. There's an author, actually a philosopher, that came up with that is primarily attributed to this kind of statement. And his name was Friedrich Nietzsche. All right, forgive me for mispronouncing your name, Frederick. Friedrich Nietzsche was a German philosopher. And one of his big things was, let's see, the identity, morality, religion, values, but also overcoming your demons and creating personal meaning. That was a big themes in his writing. So I'm gonna talk more about that in my next video that I hope to have posted by Monday, midday, this coming Monday. I'll drop that video. With my YouTube journey, I'm trying to be more like this and less scripted. I find that I don't do too terribly great when I have a script up or a teleprompter, because it just doesn't seem natural. It doesn't seem like this. And what I wanted was a more conversational tone that's educational, helpful, and has value. But with that being said, sometimes it's less is more, and with the YouTube videos, you get real serious and all like that. But people want entertainment as well, besides just having serious, serious stuff. That's not why people go to these videos. Maybe some, but I just want to share my experiences. I do agree with his statement most of the time. I think men that don't have a clear and defined mission for long can get in the weeds. And I think that a lot of times there are other factors. There are other factors like support, family, support groups, social groups. These are things that are important, that can sustain a man that doesn't have a mission. But we'll go into that more in the video. So what's going on in your world, guys? I hope everyone is doing okay here, that you all are finding peace and prosperity. I realize there's some people here who are having work challenges. I realize there are some people here that are having self-doubt and anxiety. You might be in grief or despair, and I'm sorry about that. I hope that we can find ways over time to stay connected and help you. I hope you all maintain with hope and joy. And if you're going through agony, I pray that the Lord will support you and bless you. And if you're in pain, mental or physical, I pray the Lord on high will give you a sense of peace, will give you healing, and that will stay close to you. All right. So it's, let's see, in Sweden, I think it is Saturday. It's not Sunday anywhere yet. And I'm thinking that, where is it? Is there anywhere in the world where it's still Friday right now? That's a good question. What if I ask Google, is there anywhere in the world that it's still Friday right now? It didn't give me a clear answer. Yeah, I'm not going to go too far down on the weeds with that. Okay, Google, what time is it in Bali right now? How's that? What time is it in Bali right now?
The time in Bali, Indonesia is 5:55 p.m.
No, I was off base on that. Okay, 5 p.m. So I really don't think there's anywhere in the world that it's still Friday right now. Let me check. What time is it in Hawaii?
The time in Hawaii is 11:55 p.m. on Friday.
Okay, we just found it. Check it out. It is still Friday. It's 5 minutes to midnight in Hawaii. It is still Friday in Hawaii, folks. How very cool. Let me see, what time is it in Japan? What time is it in Japan?
The time in Tokyo, Japan is 6:56 p.m.
All right, that's totally opposite end of the spectrum. So, let me try something else. What time is it in the Marathon? What time is it in Marathon in the Pacific? What time is it in Marathon Island in the Pacific?
The time in Marathon, Florida is 5:56 a.m.
All right, this isn't going anywhere fast. Sorry about that. Yeah, interesting about AI going down the road here. Sometimes AI hits it out of the park, and sometimes it can't tell you what time, answer a simple question. So I got to be careful how loud I say that, because maybe the AI is listening to all, or, AI 20 years down the road is going through and listening to all these videos right here and just going through the video files and learning more about humanity. That's possible, really. Like in 20 years, will the AI be, just scanning all the movies ever made, all the YouTube videos ever made? Will it be scanning all the radio broadcasts that ever got made and got recorded, just to learn more? It's kind of freaky, isn't it? So, about all I got for now. I really, it warms my heart that so many people checked in and joined today and just kind of joined me while I was blathering on. I appreciate it immensely. And I think that, well, I hope I sleep, okay? But I think that basically, I hope that we have, looking at my settings here, I hope that we have regular occurrences where we can have these live chats, maybe not at 5 in the morning on Saturday. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to try to check out without losing this video, and wish me luck.